Lionel Polar Express O-Gauge, Working on the Railroad, Episode 2. In this episode, I'm going to be using expanding foam to fill in some voids on my layout and prepare an area for plaster cloth and then plastering to create the winter scenery that I need for my Polar Express layout. And we're starting right now. Hi, I'm Owen, and in these videos I'm continuing to build, expand, and improve my Lionel Polar Express model train layout in O-Gauge. Today I've got an area that I tore out some foam and some hillsides on earlier in order to build my elevated track. So now we have to repair that. And what I've decided to do is use an expanding foam product to fill in the voids and create the hillside. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, now would be a great time to hit the subscribe button down below so that you don't forget. And that way you'll be notified every time I put a new video up and be able to see the progress in my layout. Also, please click the thumbs up and like this video. I appreciate your support. Now let's get started. I've just got a little bit of touching up here to do with the foam spray, and we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll be able to move on to the next step fairly shortly. I need to allow this time to cure. This is called Great Stuff, and it comes in 12 or 16 ounce cans. We'll get a little closer look at where I put the foam. It's in between the hills that were there that I cut away in the hill that's still there and the railroad track. I've used shielding on the railroad tracks to prevent the foam from getting on them. After letting the Great Stuff spray and foam filler cure for approximately 48 hours, this is what it looks like. You can see it's expanded as the way it's supposed to, and that is a good thing because this gives me a little bit of excess that I'll be able to use for some other projects. But it has filled in very nicely the area that I wanted to fill in, and I'm going to next trim away the excess using a foam knife from Woodland Cedar. Now that I've done an initial trimming of the foam, I need to run the Polar Express passenger train by there to make sure I've left enough space, enough clearance on the side for the train to go through without bumping. So here we go, let's give it a whirl. Okay, that worked. The train goes through with enough clearance, but I think it's still a little tight. If the train should do a little bit of wobbling on the track, it could easily brush up against the foam. I'm going to get back now and trim off maybe about another ½ an inch where it's closest to the track. There, I've trimmed that back between 1/4 inch and ½ inch through that narrowest part. That gives me adequate clearance to run the trains through there without worrying about them scraping the side. As you can see here, after trimming away the foam, I've got some voids in there that I need to do something about before I do the finish work. I'm going to use foam putty to fill those spots in. Well, I've gone to the next step. I took a good close look at this area that I filled in with the expanding foam, and I decided that I really didn't need to put plaster cloth over it. Instead, I've painted it white, and that gives me a base coat. Now, with that white base coat on there, I'm going to be able to do some additional painting on this in different colors to make it appear to be exposed rocks, to simulate exposed rocks and an exposed cut, railroad cut through those rocks. And then I'm also going to do some brush on it, decorating it with brush. Continuing with the landscaping along the railroad, I have added color to the cut through the rocks that was necessary to trim back the expanded foam so that it would fit the area and the train to be able to pass by. The color, adding color to it makes it look much more realistic. I've got one more step to go, and that's going to be to add dead winter vegetation to it. We'll put dead brush on the side of that cliff, and that will make it look much more realistic. I've gone through and added a little dried brush to this area. You can see it there in that crevice between the rocks and along the railroad tracks, around that column, and in a couple of other places here. And then we'll go down below real quick, and you can see that I've added some dried brush as well to the railroad cut And that is starting to look more realistic. I'll probably add a bit more in the days to come, and I'll probably add some soft flake snow over the whole scene as well, but that'll take a little bit longer. I need things to dry first before I can do that. So there we are. That's the area landscape now. It looks, I think, a lot more realistic. When I put down the soft flake snow and I finish that part off, it'll look even better. Coming to my favorite part of every video, and that's running the trains. So let's get them started. Well, that'll do it for today, folks. Please be sure to like this video, click the thumbs up down below and like the video. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and you'll be notified of all my future videos. And share this video with anyone else you know who may be interested in model railroad. As always, thanks for watching.